If you're running Yale right now, what's your future look like?
I think you're saying to yourself, I admitted this kid because his dad was rich, and I knew that if I let him in, I'm going to get a percentage of that kid's inheritance. And so I discount that forward by 20 years. It's still worth 15 or 20 million bucks for me to let this kid in. I think that's how the preponderance of these decisions are probably made, even though they'll say that, well, the kid got, really great GPA and blah, blah, blah. But, they also went to Choate and Exeter and blah, blah, blah. So it was all kind of like pre-wired and ordained. Now what I think all these people should be saying is the people who will define these new businesses, I may never see. So what does that mean to my relevance when, Jack Ma has a following of millions of people in China, and they're not going to be thinking in terms of, typical U.S. structured educational system? And what if they then generate all the wealth and create all the value and have all these people working for them? Well, then the power center sits there. It doesn't sit in the United States and all of these institutions that we've built up to be these, precursors to power. And so you're kind of screwed, right? And so then the entire world order gets changed and rewritten. And so, you think about it at a very elemental level, like, so then who's in power? Well, like we used to have these artificial constructs of how we used to, we had the UN Security Council, we had the G7, then it became the G8. Now there's a quasi G20. But maybe none of that stuff actually matters. Now maybe it's just a group of Asian countries that basically decide. And they can just decide. That's what's crazy. They could just decide. China could decide to cause the United States to default. They could just decide. And so what does that mean for like how we've thought about governing and businesses and capitalism and all this stuff? So in many ways, like we're like we're built on very shaky foundation right now. And so I think blowing some of those underlying foundations up and seeing what happens. There'll be a lot of rubble, but I think there'll be a lot of interesting things that happen too. Many of these things will be outside the U.S., but I don't care about that. I mean, I think that's great.
But at a sort of like an old institution, like how does it decay? What does the decay look like? Or do they actually sort of adapt in some way? Or is it not possible? Is it going to look like, the record industry?
Yeah, I think these businesses are dead. I mean, these people. These businesses are run by people who have. They're probably not ill-meaning, and but they're too scared to change because they are living by this very strict defined set of rules. And and at the end of the day, they're like, I just need 5 more years in this job until my kid graduates from college. So their decision framework is based on the stupidest frameworks, right? And so, how hard is it to disrupt? I just don't think like the 18-year-old in Kenya gives a shit about that guy trying to pay for his kid to go to Amherst. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. By far the best investment you can make is in yourself. If you invest in yourself, nobody can take it away from you.